morning, everybody. Kevin, you got somebody important to call?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Some guy on Facebook called me a left-wing hack. And I thought that was just hilarious. I mean, he thought he was really digging at me. He's like, "You left-wing hack?" I'm like, someone don't know me very well.
He must have been watching somebody else. I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher,
Hello.
our resident left-wing hack.
I'm a left-wing hack.
Welcome to Exiles TV. 2 hours, action-packed, car chases, gunfire.
Explosions, big explosions.
They won't let us do nudity yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, we're in negotiations on the nudity.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we joke about that, but that's Kevin likes all these really deep sci-fi movies and futuristic movies and all that, and I can't do it. My criteria for whether or not I will watch a movie is, will there be gunfire, and will it be accurate? I don't want to see somebody, with a 6-shooter getting 9 shots out. I'm gone. Will there be gunfire?
He's a counter.
Yes.
He's a counter.
Will it be accurate? That doesn't mean they have to hit anything, because they never do. Have you ever noticed that? These people put more lead in the air than the 5th Marine Division, and they never hit anything. But that's another story. All right. So
you just reminded me of a classic moment from one of my favorite old westerns. It's not that old, but Silverado was made in 1985. Mm-hmm. And there's a wonderful scene where an injured Scott Glenn is trying to regain his ability to shoot from the hip and hit those bottles, and he's practicing really hard. And when he shoots 6 bottles and every shot hits, and then all of a sudden one of the bad guys steps out from behind a rock. "You're empty, mister."
Yeah.
And then it gets bad.
He counts too. But anyway,
things get really bad.
There has to be gunfire.
Yeah.
There has to be high-speed automobile chases.
Okay.
If you don't have an automobile chase, a boat chase will do, as in like, what was it set in New Orleans? The Bond film set in New Orleans. Thunderball.
Live and Let Die.
And Live and Let Die, yeah. Mm-hmm. So there has to be a chase of some sort, okay?
Boat chase works.
Boat chase works, car chase works, and there has to be nudity. It can be gratuitous. It can be gratuitous. It can be gratuitous.
It usually is.
It doesn't have to have anything to do with the storyline.
It usually is.
And I don't want to see any of this, little bitty snowflake nudity where it looks like somebody put 2 peas on a cutting board. That is not the kind of nudity I want to see. I want to see real nudity. Those are the three things. And the good guys have to win at the end without injury. So
without injury.
Without injury.
No cost.
Well, no bad injury.
No member of the team suffers the ultimate penalty, nothing like that.
But if it has that, I'll plunk down my $8 at the Cineplex, or I'll click on Netflix. Other than that, no. You can keep it.
Although, if I could pick one thing that is in the genre of what you call science fiction, and say, Bill, please just watch one season of this. Stream one season of this on Netflix and see if you don't want to watch season 2. There's a program, I think it's in season 4 right now, streaming. It's called The Expanse. And what I love about it is science fiction. It all takes place within our solar system. And it's more an exploration of what kind of people would we be if we really got out there and business took us out, like to the asteroid belt, to mine stuff and water and things like that. And there are now 3 factions in this future world. It's like there's the Earthers, there's the Martians, who are still living under domes after 75, 80 years, and they haven't got Martian, they still can't live on Mars, they have to live in it. And then there's the Belters, who have actually set up habitats on asteroids, and they mine the asteroids. And these 3 factions, all human beings, can't stand each other, none of them. So it's a 3-way split, and all of the wonderful, delicious politics that goes on in between.
See, here's the thing. I see absolutely no room for nudity, because they're in.
No, there's nudity. There is. Oh, yeah.
Inside the dome.
Yeah, people just, because they're people. They just periodically decide to get it on.
I think you could substitute some sort of a spacecraft chase for a car chase, so I might let that fly.
Spaceship chases, there are.
But see,
explosions, gunfire, lots of gunfire.
Critical error. What do they call the people on the asteroids? What do they call them?
The Belters.
Now, see, there's a natural name that would
because they live in the
intrigue
asteroid
me
belt.
if they called them the ass something. Then I might watch the movie. But obviously, these scriptwriters have no freaking sense of humor. By the way,
I really think you'd love it, by the way, if you saw it.
Speaking of science fiction, I was on the internet the other day, and I clicked on a box, and there was something called science friction. I'm thinking that isn't a good movie.
No.
Okay.
There's certain things that when you're typing, you got to be careful what you type in that search engine.
Years.
People are watching.
Years and years ago, when we were working for our previous slave masters, I had what the IT guy described as a pornado.
A tornado.
Where these, I was actually researching
Porn pop-ups?
I was researching something for the show, and it had a word that was close. And all of a sudden, like 30 windows opened. And as fast as I could close them, they kept opening up. I finally did a hard shutdown on the computer, no pun intended.
That's all you can do.
And called the IT guys and said, fix this. And he says, you had a tornado. It was that skinny little guy that worked for us that looked like he was going to one day be a serial killer. It was him. Yeah.
All right, let's
He's
take
got
a break.
time, too. He's young.
Let's take a break. This hour, we are going to discuss the latest in medical marijuana for the state of Louisiana. What is the status? We'll have the man who's in charge with us later on this hour as Exiles TV continues.
Taste the feeling. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Bill Profito over there. I'm Kevin Gallagher over here. And in just a couple of minutes, we're going to talk with John Davis. He is with WELLCANNA. Is that WELLCANNA Incorporated? WELLCANNA is the company who is in charge of growing medical marijuana for the LSU Ag Center to be distributed at 9 legal medical marijuana pharmacies across the state.
Yeah, dispensaries as they're called. Dr. Ashley Mullins with the LSU Ag Center will also join John and you and I. Talk a little bit about the science here, about what has been going on.
And as I understand it, some changes in the legal medical marijuana laws were made in the last legislative session. So what's new?
We are progressing in Louisiana. It's not leaps and bounds, but we are progressing. We're baby steps, because God knows we wouldn't want people like Lance Harris to get the vapors. or what's that schmuck down in Lake Charles? Is he still in the legislature? The guy with the stripper bill. Ronnie Johns.
Oh, Ronnie Johns. Thank you.
We can't be having this weed in our society.
He's actually from Jennings.
Jennings.
But
that's
you know,
even worse. It's a Lake Charles wannabe.
Between him and Kenny Havard, who's now the parish president up in West Feliciana with the
no fat chicks.
He had the No Fat Chicks amendment to the stripper bill. We have a wonderful state government here in Louisiana.
Yeah, we do.
And it is amazing that we sometimes get stuff pushed through the legislature that could be looked at as actual progress.
I am amazed that the reasonable ones, you know, like Franklin Foyle, like Paula Davis, like Ted James, don't one day just all go to the front and say, we're wearing these parachutes. We're going to leave it with you. Adios, and pull the cord.
No, I want the reasonable ones to stay. They're the only hope we have.
Well, you have to sit in there with these guys. I mean, they are these guys. Speaking of these guys, my old hometown has got some serious problems going on.
Oh, man, does your old hometown have some serious problems.
This has never happened. Now, I lived there during the race riots of the 60s. Mm-hmm. I lived there during the Democratic National Convention rioting. This has never happened. Hundreds of people with mayhem on their minds, according to Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Oh, yeah, when Lori Lightfoot gets tired of it, you know it's
she
reached
says
critical
this
mass.
was straight up felony criminal conduct.
Yeah.
This was an assault. They descended on Michigan Avenue, and they smashed windows, and they looted, and they set cars on fire. There was some gunfire. They had to send an additional 400 officers in to help restore order and to stop the violence, and they already had 120 on scene. The police superintendent said it was pure criminality. There was no point to it. There was no, social problem that they were trying to address. They just came down to break windows and steal things, by the way, from very, very expensive stores, okay? Mm-hmm. And, I, for years...
What do they call that part of Michigan Avenue?
The Magnificent Mile.
The Magnificent Mile.
The Magnificent Mile.
And it is, especially if you're a high-end shopper, it's a high-end shopper's paradise.
Well, and again, they understand the tourists that come there and stay on Michigan Avenue because there's a zillion hotels. Mm-hmm. And now they've also got all the outlet stores salted in. So, if you don't want to spend $500 on a shirt.
Nice.
But...
$500 on a shirt.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it. But they wear real well. But
they better.
For years people
better
have asked
press
me,
themselves for that kind of money.
Where should I go in Chicago? What is safe? And I used to say, you will know it when you see it. And I told them quite truthfully, as far as I know, there has never been any kind of drive-by gang action, mob action, anything like this.
Oh, you're going to have to change that now.
On Michigan Avenue. And this is a first. And a lot of expert criminologists and sociologists are now saying, now that they have broken that barrier, is this going to be a common thing? But I mean, I've done it. I would be able to tell you could do it. I would be able to tell Marty he could do it. I'd tell our guests. Karen and I have gone to dinner and gone to theater and be walking back to our hotel 16 blocks and be doing this at 1:45 in the morning and feel absolutely safe. And that was something that Chicago always had, that a lot of cities used to have, but Chicago has managed to hang on to that until this. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be very, very interesting what happens tonight and tomorrow night, and as we get into the weekend. All the stuff you were hearing about Chicago crime up until this point happened due to gang activity, drug activity.
It was the neighborhoods.
It was concentrated in two neighborhoods, one on the south side, one on the west side. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Chicago has always been legendary for their gangs. When I was a kid, it was the Pagans and the Black Keystone Rangers and these gangs. Now they have gotten to be gangs incorporated. And they have a great deal of structure and a great deal of danger. But it has never come to the cash register. Mm-hmm. This area is Chicago tourism's cash register, with the exception of Wrigley Field, which is a little further now north, where the Cubs play, and U.S. Cellular Park, where the Sox play, which is a little further south. And if tourists don't want to come to Chicago because they fear that this crime will happen in the evening when they've just gone to a restaurant or gone to theater or gone to a concert or something like that.
Which the evening is when they do it,
Yeah.
because it's harder to get good video of their faces at nighttime.
Yeah, that's the cash register. So it's something that I think that the nation is going to be watching.
Well, I've noticed that the media seems to be giving less press of calling these things peaceful protests.
Oh,
they're now forced to admit that we're way beyond peaceful protests.
Oh, yeah, we have gone so far beyond that. We'll keep an eye on it. I know the nation will be keeping an eye on it.
I think all the
well.
protesters need some medical marijuana. I think they would probably would all feel better. You know,
Yeah, a little medical marijuana would be good.
just soothe what ails them.
You know what? I don't want these people soothed. I would like them locked up, if you don't mind.
Not enough jail space in America.
And apparently Mayor Lightfoot doesn't mind now that they want to lock them up.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when it starts cutting into the budget.
2 weeks ago, she kind of minded when they were locking them up. Now, not so much.
All right, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, special guests talking about the state of medical marijuana in Louisiana. What's changed? What's new? Join us in just moments on Exiles TV.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, LACantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try LACantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Look, our number has grown. We have doubled in size during that last commercial announcement, and you can help us do that. Just write your request on the back of a $100 bill, send it to Exiles. I'm kidding. How are you?
Good morning. Getting ready to have Jonathan fly our address up on the screen. Yeah, send those in. We'll take those.
We are so glad to have these two guests with us. We have talked about on the radio, and newscasters have talked about the medical marijuana industry as it is in Louisiana. And if you remember, I guess we're going back 3 years, maybe more, that the legislature decided that the marijuana should be actually cultivated in extremely strict conditions by Southern University's Ag Department and by LSU's Ag Department, overseen by project managers who actually kind of own the business, as it were. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And we have got John Davis with us, Dr. Ashley Mullins. Ashley is with the LSU Ag Center. John, your company is called WELLCANNA.
That's right.
John is the CEO. Let's take us back to the beginning real quickly, and then we'll talk about the changes in the law that just took effect.
So in the beginning, the legislature in 2015, they passed the Allison Newstrom Act. And that's named after a young lady who passed away, unfortunately, of pancreatic cancer from the Lafayette area. And she was seeking access to medical marijuana during her terminal illness. And so that was the foundation for the bill. Through the years, we've had different changes in the law, and LSU Ag Center, Southern Ag Center became involved. And from there, they sent out a public bid to find their selected public-private partner. WELLCANNA was selected by LSU Ag Center to participate in this opportunity.
Ashley, obviously LSU Ag Center has a lot at stake. One of two organizations that have been entrusted by the legislature to do the science on this. What has it been like?
It has been interesting. I think we can both speak to that it took a lot longer to get up and running, much longer than we thought. But as far as selecting WELLCANNA, we knew that they were going to be our perfect partner because they were just as interested in research. And so the first order of business was to get the medication out to the patients, because that's what the legislature tasked us with. And so we wanted to wait and do that. That started occurring August 2019, and then we want to start the research after that. So we have been fine-tuning our process to get all of the products to patients, and we were just starting to get up and running in our laboratory, and then the pandemic hit. And so we hope to get back there. We have equipment on hold, and we have researchers at LSU waiting to submit proposals to begin research on medical marijuana.
What is the nature of the research?
Well, we want to take it back to the plant, because that's what the Ag Center is about. We want to bring some of the practices we've learned from other commodities, rice, sugarcane, to actually the cannabis plant, and then move forward working with Pennington and the Hospital Association here and bring those clinical trials. We don't do clinical trials. We more want to focus on the genetics of the plant breeding, and then the chemistry, and any kind of research that we can do that can also be involved in WELLCANNA's production techniques to help them, just maybe streamline their processes.
Now, do we have products at the dispensaries now, John?
We do. So the first products went out August of 2019. And those were tinctures, liquid-based medicine that you put under your tongue and then swallow. We've just released another product that's a refined concentrate. We'll have gummies and asthma inhalers. We'll also have what's similar to a Listerine strip, different means of administration.
Now, what does the law that just took effect a few days ago allow for that wasn't in the law previously?
So that is August 1st is when that new law went into effect. And Senator Ronnie Johns from Lake Charles, he voted in favor of it.
He did.
He did.
Sorry, Ronnie.
He did. So what that does is it's a dramatic shift, and it's a dramatic shift on a number of fronts. We were able to obtain a supermajority of support in both the House and the Senate, which shows that the education level is ramping up. People aren't yelling reefer madness. They're recognizing there are medical benefits. But what this does is create greater patient access. It's any licensed physician, licensed and in good standing by the Board of Medical Examiners, may recommend medical cannabis to any patient for any condition.
Thank God.
For any condition.
For any condition.
See, the limitations were one thing that people were, I remember one of the first things ever, and this is 35 years ago, I heard people were using marijuana to treat glaucoma and the pain associated with glaucoma. But yet when we passed our first medical marijuana bill, glaucoma nowhere to be seen in the list.
Right. There was a small swim lane, and quite honestly, you have to start small when you're doing something brand new in our state. Baby steps. But think about this. Even though the first bill was enacted in 2015, the first medicine came out only in August of 2019. So we've just hit our 1 year, and look at the progress that we have made. While you're standing in our shoes at LSU Ag Center in WELLCANNA, you feel like this is going slow. But when you take a step back, you realize in 1 year, now we're on to any doctor, any patient, any condition. So that's
a breakthrough.
That's a breakthrough.
That is, thank God. I'm serious. Thank you, Ronnie, and everybody else. Thank you.
Now, what kind of opposition? These medical marijuana laws have faced really stiff opposition from the Sheriff's Association lobby and from the District Attorney's lobby. Are they still solidly anti-cannabis?
They are in this sense. They're concerned about how would they properly police and regulate it. So if it's wide open, but you still have an illegal market that must be regulated and policed, how are they going to balance that out? It's not necessarily as simple as saying, hey, if it's in a WELLCANNA container, then it's okay, because police still are suspicious, and they need to make sure that they're not stopping people that shouldn't be stopped, for example. Mm-hmm. So it's not so much that they are, again, reefer madness. Mm-hmm. It's more of they want to be able to properly police and manage this, because there is a very robust illegal market that needs to be shut down.
Actually, let me ask you this. In terms of the science, I know you all do very, very strict testing as you're bringing products along. Can an agricultural center at a university actually bring forward some of these products that may not be completely agriculturally based, or perhaps need something that's not agricultural mixed with them? I know a lot of states for medical person uses do the baked goods and the gummies and things like that. Is that within your purview?
Yes. Well, we've left the product development and distribution to WELLCANNA, because when we started to research this type of business with Ag Center, we figured out that there were people out there that could do it better than us. We had never grown or distributed these types of products. So we work really closely with WELLCANNA to make sure we're very clear on exactly what products they're putting out. But we've had researchers on LSU's faculty contact us, say in the food and science department, that have people from out of state contacting them. How do I test my brownies? How do I test my gummies? And so there's definitely an avenue for types of research we never even contemplated that we could help bring light, and actual hard data to this business to help other states, not only with WELLCANNA and our relationship, but just to bring this type of science and research and data collection, food science, the vet school, not only with our agricultural departments that have reached out for opportunities to conduct research that we never even considered.
This is a question for either of you or both of you. When a new medication comes on the market, research continues in the laboratory, but then there's also clinical research, where you bring together people who are prescribed the drug, who use the drug, and you measure the effect it has on them versus your baseline. Is this something that either of your organizations is going to get into as more of these products are being used by patients who have a need?
I think for both of us, I would say yes. There's a tremendous opportunity in Baton Rouge, because we have a world-class clinical trial expert. That's LSU Pennington Biomedical Center. So now we have these medications, these products that have been tested, that are consistent, that are in the clinical trial parlance or wording is they're the constant. Before, when cannabis was illegal, everyone was smoking a joint. Mm-hmm. So you didn't know what the patient was smoking or what their inhalation versus the next patient's inhalation. You had all these variables that made it very difficult. So it was a lot of anecdotal information that this was good for glaucoma, this was good for cancer, this was good for pain or anxiety, PTSD. Now we have a constant medication that's consistent. The researchers know what the patient is consuming.
How do WELLCANNA products differ from the explosion of the CBD products that we're seeing at stores? I mean, you can buy CBD from a convenience store.
You can, but you don't know necessarily what might be in it. That's right, because there's far less testing in the CBD space. The easy separation is CBD is one of the 400 plus chemical compounds found in the cannabis sativa plant. So that's just one. THC is another. Those are the two most widely known. CBD is the non-psychoactive, won't give you the high. THC is the psychoactive compound. So that's the way that you can distinguish the two. But they both of those compounds have definitely proven medical benefits. Analgesics, anti-inflammatories, sleep aids, reducing blood sugar, reducing blood pressure. So they both have different medical benefits. So someone could consume a CBD product provided it's got the right ingredients to it and get benefits.
But just to clarify, WELLCANNA has stringent testing on both CBD and their medical marijuana products that they have distributed. So that's another benefit from going with WELLCANNA over something from a convenience store.
Ashley, let me ask you this. I mean, LSU Ag Center is world-renowned. It's one of the best scientific agriculture laboratories in the entire spectrum, but you've never done something like this before. So what do you use as your baseline to tell if the product is good or excellent or not so good? We need to change this or that. How do you get there?
Well, we know plants, and I think that's why we were written into the statute. From what I've been told, I wasn't around at that point, but hey, they know how to grow plants. They grow a lot of things. Let's write in the ag centers. And so we have a team that we constructed to decide whether or not we even wanted to participate in this program. And we decided yes, we wanted to, but again, decided not to spend state dollars and go into a bid process. But as far as the products, again, Department of Ag and Forestry tests those to make sure they are consistent, safe, contaminant-free, and so we really trust WELLCANNA in that. And then as far as data, we want to get there. Right now, a lot of the information is anecdotal, and so we want to work with not only Pennington and local people here in Louisiana, here in Baton Rouge, but the LSU family, the health science centers in Shreveport and New Orleans, and one day we hope to get there. Again, a lot of it, there has to be something to it because of the anecdotal information out there. But as far as the Ag Center is concerned, we want to bring in people that can help us disseminate what products work and how well they work on certain patients.
Hold those thoughts. We're going to have a lot more talking about medical marijuana in Louisiana. One of the official growth and distribution chains is on the set with us. We'll put the phone number up if you have a question about medical marijuana. You can go ahead and call in, and they will do their best to answer it. But we'll be right back in just a moment on Exiles TV. Stick around.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
We're back with Exiles TV, and a big thanks to our floor director, Marty Campbell, for getting us back here safely. Our guests, in case you're just tuning in, John Davis on the far side. He is the CEO of WELLCANNA. WELLCANNA is the company that has a contract with the LSU Ag Center to grow medical marijuana and produce medical marijuana products to be legally distributed at any one of the 9, do you call them dispensaries or pharmacies?
Pharmacies.
Pharmacies. Only 9 in 64 parishes. And John, by the way, Ashley Mullins is a scientist with the Louisiana Ag Center. John, my question is about distribution network. Is that the next thing to go after, is get more pharmacies available? Because I'd hate, if I needed medical marijuana, I'd hate to have to drive across 2 parishes to get it.
So I know from talking with independent pharmacies, there's an interest in participating in that distribution chain. I think I'm going to leave that up to the independent pharmacies to decide how and if there's going to be an expansion. Yeah, I'm in an interesting spot where I have 9 customers, and so I want to remain mute.
Well, don't forget they have a 10th license that they haven't issued yet, so they still have the ability to do that. The Board of Pharmacy.
I heard the original number was 10, but
that's right.
Only 9 are currently open.
Right.
If you don't mind my asking, let's talk a little bit about the money. Does insurance, Humana and all the big companies, do they cover a prescription or a recommendation for medical marijuana?
That's a great question. We're asked that all the time. We put out a white paper on that. So if you go see your physician in your health insurance network, then that visit to talk about an injury, an illness, or a treatment option, that's covered by your health insurance. You pay your copay. If you go to a doctor outside of your network, then of course you're going to be paying according to those co-insurance rules in your plan. Now, the next is the medication covered? So the visit is covered by your insurance. The medication, the product, is not yet covered by health insurance. But there's already talk, and several legislators have gone on record to say that's the next thing that they want to accomplish. So right now the product is not covered, so they'll have to come out of pocket for that.
Is it expensive? Is it on a par with other medications you would take, like Lipitor, for example, that may not be covered by your plan in its name brand form? Is it something that most people who need it can afford, or is it going to be a struggle?
There are some products out there now that treat X condition, and they're costing about $30,000 to $33,000 a year.
Wow.
Versus these products, they might cost you $100 a month. So it's the pricing on the retail and on the wholesale level are very consistent with the mature markets in other states. And again, remember, we just started in August of 19 in LSU Ag Center in WELLCANNA. We've driven down the wholesale price to be competitive with the mature markets. So while they've taken 5 to 7 years to get here, we've done it in a year.
And also you got the tax removed for, initially when it first started, they wanted to charge tax to the patients, and we got it treated just as a pharmaceutical, a regular pharmaceutical, where the patients were relieved of those tax dollars.
It's like if this were a recreational bill, I could see some taxation structure, but we're talking about medicine.
Right.
Now, I would also assume that you said around $100 a month on an average, general price point. It would seem to me it's probably a bit more expensive than that if you're just wanting to buy it through illegal means and smoke it.
Well, I would
probably
argue
a great deal more expensive.
Well, I would argue that it's probably less expensive because there's less overhead, less testing, less regulation. But if you're buying it in the illegal market, you're being subjected to illegal pesticides on those plants. And we know this because there have been studies. You don't know what you're getting. You don't have consistency in the product. Your experience when you go this month versus next month may be completely different. Whereas patients who are looking to treat anxiety or migraines, et cetera, they, especially palliative care and cancer patients, they want consistency.
Right, and especially that was important to us for children, because the autistic moms really came forward and said how much they needed this medication. And so I know the Vice President of Agriculture, my boss, was very vocal that he wanted the product to be consistent. And so that's something different. You're getting the same dose.
And you just answered one of my questions. Is it safe for children, or is there any age under which children might not want to use a cannabis product?
So the first is talk to your physician. Make sure that this is appropriate for you and your particular condition and your medical history.
Somebody out here watching go, giving kids cannabis, because reefer madness.
You give kids Ritalin.
We give kids a lot of things that cause a lot of very detrimental side effects. But we have, and in fact, I was talking with a mom of autistic children just yesterday, and the testimonials are very humbling. And the seizure reduction and the interaction with their autistic children, it's off the charts. I can't disagree with what they are experiencing, and so long as they talk with their doctor, that's what the Louisiana framework is designed to do. Talk to your doctor, see if this is appropriate for you.
And there's different products, and we continue to add, WELLCANNA continues to add products based on feedback from patients. And so you may have a high level THC for some and then a lower level for others. So it's up to you and your physician and your pharmacist on what you take or what you give your children.
Now, again, I'm going to go back to the federal government, and it's just amazing to me that the federal government still considers any marijuana product, including medical marijuana, to be a Schedule I illegal drug. So has LSU Ag Center been threatened with losing any federal money for research because of this?
Well, we have been very careful to keep anything that we're doing on this program separate from federal funding, because we do obtain a lot of federal funding. When I first started, I think it was my first month on the job, we went to Washington, D.C. I was able to get a meeting with DEA. And now looking back, the fact that we walked out not in handcuffs, was a good first month, I guess. I impressed my boss. But so we have stayed they were very supportive of the research we're going to do. We've met with National Institute of Health. They are very supportive, NIDA, and so the National Institute of Drug Abuse. And so everybody is very supportive in what we're doing here. It's just getting all of those agencies to agree. So we keep any researcher that's working, we make sure they don't have any federal dollars. We do not bring product on campus where federal funded buildings or equipment are being utilized. And so everything is done at the production facility that WELLCANNA has built and equipped for us.
Now, let's talk about the rest of the money. When they started with recreational marijuana being legalized in several states, the people that were selling it had no place to put the money, because most banks are in the federal banking system, and the feds would say,
still the federal
we'll
Schedule I substance.
The DEA may come and seize your product because it's still federally illegal. So what kind of hurdles do you have with that?
We are fortunate we don't have any hurdles. And the reason for that is the banks know their customer. They know who we are. And it's a misnomer to say that banks cannot be involved in this space. The accurate is there is a swim lane that banks must stay within, and that part of that begins with know your customer. So we actually have the fortune of having two different banks. We have a bank that services our cannabis business, and we have a bank that services our CBD business. So we're very fortunate. We have no money on site. We're like Domino's, less than $20 on site. Versus these other states, they have to hire armed militia because they're dealing in just cash. The pharmacies, ACH, transfer the payments to us. So it's a cashless transaction.
And so the pharmacies are not in jeopardy from any kind of seizure either.
No. The federal government has said we are not going to fund any investigation of legal state programs. If any of us is arrested by a federal law enforcement agency, that's because we're operating outside of the law. We would be the first to be operating within the confines of the law. That's why you don't have any investors in publicly traded marijuana companies being arrested. You don't have any pharmacists. You don't have any doctors. You don't have any universities or cultivators being arrested who are operating within the four corners of a state law.
Have you had any security concerns since you started the operation up?
No, not one.
Good.
We have East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's deputies on site all during our business hours, and then we have private security during the evening hours.
And the location's still pretty closely guarded where that actually is, right?
It is, and we have no visitors unless we've invited legislators or regulators to the facility. The only people that come are delivering goods and services that we're asking for.
Fertilizers, et cetera.
Fertilizers, nutrients, et cetera, working on our chiller system. And then also the pharmacies, they will come to pick up.
So you don't even have like marked delivery vehicles or anything for extra security?
No. We have a sheriff's vehicle in front, which I think is a pretty good deterrent.
Yeah.
Or are you expecting like the cannabis truck with twinkling, ding, 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 ding,
well,
ding, ding, ding?
You know what?
Like the ice cream man coming down the street?
We may get to that.
I've seen that van in New Orleans in the French Quarter. You know?
Yes.
Well, I actually have a friend who went on a vacation to Colorado, businessman, and it was a marijuana vacation. And he said they send vans to the hotel to pick you up. He says, on the ride to, nobody's talking to each other. On the ride back, everybody's talking to each other.
Oh, wow.
Right. And it's a party on that vehicle because,
Frito-Lay must
of course,
be
the hotel doesn't want you to consume inside their hotel, so you've got to party hardy in the van, I guess.
That's wild. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about your expertise about the future of medicine and marijuana and the other products in this state and in this nation, if you don't mind. But first, we have to take a brief break. Back in a moment on Exiles TV.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back. Hi, it's Exiles TV. Bill Profito over there. I'm Kevin Gallagher, and our guests are John Davis, CEO of WELLCANNA, the company who is growing, one of the companies that is growing and making legal medical marijuana products in Louisiana for distribution at one of 9 dispensaries, pharmacies here across the state. And Dr. Ashley Mullins is with the LSU Ag Center. She's doing the research and the science on how to get better products out of these plants and more efficient products. John, I have one more question for you, and that's, of course, the industry's not allowed to advertise, as I understand it. So that's why there may be people out there that don't understand that we have medical marijuana pharmacies open because you're not allowed to advertise. What is the mechanics? I go to my doctor, I've got an issue, let's say persistent headaches or maybe muscle aches or something. Now, when he writes me a recommendation, is that in the form of a script? I mean, what form does that take? What do I take to the pharmacy?
So you won't take anything to the pharmacy as the patient. The doctor will fax over or email electronically over to the licensed pharmacy the recommendation form.
Okay.
And it's a much more simplified form now that's a result of the August 1st law. Instead of a 3-page dissertation, now it's a 1-page, identifies the essential information. The doctor, the patient, the condition, and the treatment that's recommended, and that is good for a year. So unless you and your doctor decide you need to see the doctor more often, you don't need to see your doctor again for another year.
But he should continue to monitor your progress while using this.
He should, and that's why we say you must at least go a year, but you and your doctor will talk about that. The sheet, the recommendation sheet, is faxed to one of the 9 pharmacies, the one that's closest, to the patient, and then that day or the next day, the pharmacy will fill that recommendation. The patient will go to the pharmacy. The law requires a consultation, so the patient is educated about the product choice, what the relief should be expected or anticipated, how to dose, how to make sure that you follow what you're doing. So it's an education process, and then that physician and that medication and that patient are put into the prescription monitoring program so that we make sure that if there are any red flags, this standard prescription monitoring program will catch that.
Well, I mean, that seems sensible, and it doesn't seem like onerous for either the physician, the pharmacy, or the patient.
It's not anymore. Before, there were a lot of flaming hoops that people had to jump through, and the way that the law was written, which was well intended, but it created about only 40 physicians in the entire state who were actively participating.
I remember that, yeah.
So that was limiting access, and we were only seeing about 1,600 patients a month because of that constricted access.
So let me make sure I got this right. So any licensed prescriber now can make a recommendation. So that includes MDs, DOs, podiatrists, and dentists.
And any licensed physician by the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners.
Anybody who's got prescription power.
That's correct. Any one of those.
For any ailment or condition they see fit.
That's right, and that's where the doctor and the patient. This is going back to old school medicine. It's the doctor-patient relationship. You're talking about your condition and whether this might be helpful for you. So it's any condition, whether that's anxiety, cancer, Parkinson's, Crohn's. Go through it. That is considered debilitating to that patient. Like for me, I have migraines.
Dr. Mullins, where do you see the research going? Do you see like eventually being able to get a lot more bang for the buck out of a crop, or?
Yes, I feel like we, again, will start with the plant and those growing techniques, the compounds in the plant, but eventually we've discussed with WELLCANNA to be able to create medications that are targeted to a specific disease state. There's a lot of, again, anecdotal information out there, but the proven data that this combination, there's 400 compounds in the plant, as John mentioned, and CBD is a big one. THC, CBN is catching some traction these days, but we don't even know, and it is those terpenes, those other assays of compounds that can work together to treat specific disease states. And so that's where I feel like it will go, just a more targeted distribution of medicine that we can work together to create. I know we're going to grow different varieties. We're going to test different varieties to see exactly how they do and what they may, we have the world is kind of our oyster as far as getting it. There's so many countries that are ahead of us that have older varieties, older genetics that we'd like to get here, and we want to become the genetic database to where we can then breed those plants and create strains that will be disease resistant, maybe higher in THC, higher in CBN, that if someone is looking for this specific medication, that we have a plant that will produce the best results for that.
Are we at a point now with this new law where someone who is being treated in an inpatient setting, a regular hospital or maybe a rehab hospital where they've got intractable pain, or maybe a nursing home facility, or maybe a hospice where the compounds can actually be delivered to them bedside, where they don't have to actually go to the pharmacist and do that consultation?
Yes. So that was an advancement during the last legislative session, where hospice care, palliative care, nursing homes, they are now able to administer the medication to their inpatient patients.
And then I've heard from hospitals, just word of mouth, that it's just different protocols for each hospital, but they won't take your medicine from you, but if you're on something like medical marijuana, it would be up to that hospital whether or not you can continue to medicate yourself or your caretaker can continue to medicate.
Well, and it seems that you also have a lot of education to do, because I'm sure that if that hospital is taking that medication from you, it's because they're afraid of
getting busted.
Yeah. And again, it is a matter of education, but I'll tell you what, this is a game changer for lots of people with chronic conditions, lots of people in pain, lots of people who don't want to become, for example, dependent on opioids. This is a real game changer, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more.
Yes.
Well, we do thank you for being with us, Dr. Ashley Mullins and John Davis, and hopefully we'll have you again if there are other advances or proposed changes in the law, so that we can keep people informed.
Yes.
Thank you for helping us educate.
Well, we do, we have a good time up here, but we like to try to make sure we get good scientific information to the audience about what is going on, and if it's not affecting their lives now, it may at some point. And I guess next we've got to get all the people who don't recognize what the product really is to kind of take a step back and take a deep breath.
Yes.
So we don't have a lot of roadside drama.
I have one more quick one. On the off chance that Louisiana should seek to adopt recreational marijuana as a legal substance, would WELLCANNA have a role in that as well, or are you mostly interested in medical applications?
Well, we would do both. Because we can't abandon patients. I mean, that's our primary focus, is patient access to this medication that's consistent with the Allison-Newstrom Act.
If it's going to be a legal substance, I'd rather have it be regulated and have people that know what they're doing.
Well, and if people are
growing
regulating
it, distributing it.
Tax it like you tax booze and kind of prop up the state coffers a little bit. Not excessively, but the way you would tax...
Imagine that. Then John Bell wouldn't have anything to complain about.
Yeah. We'll do it by month. In January, we'll only tax the things that have John in their name. And then in February...
Wait a minute, he's got John in his name.
No, I mean the products like Johnny Walker.
Oh, okay.
Jack Daniels. You get the idea. We have got the second hour of Exiles TV coming your way in just a matter of minutes. Stephen Waguespack, the president and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. The legislative session is over. Now it is political season. Back in just a minute.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hey, we're back. It is Exiles TV as we bid farewell to our guests.
I'm saddling up here.
Just nice people, the both of them. Enjoyed having that conversation. And there's so much about this blossoming industry that I don't know about, you know. And John always makes it very clear, very concise, and he doesn't seek to spin. It doesn't seem that he's like spinning this thing in any.
Well,
it's a market. It's a growing market, and I think that somewhere down the road, it could be an economic engine for Louisiana if they see fit to do it.
You know, if a doctor told me that I needed to take this, I would not hesitate. I also, now again, this is not their bailiwick, but I mean, how stupid is it to not allow recreational marijuana and govern its use with responsibility just like you do with alcohol? I just think it's very short-sighted.
I've never made a secret of the fact that I've smoked some marijuana in my time, okay? The older you get, the more you have to lose, the more you think, I'm not going to indulge in illegal activities any longer. So that's all part of my past. It helped for 6 years. I worked for a company that did random testing. But I had put marijuana in the rearview mirror even then. But I'm here to tell you, somebody that's smoked some, it's not as dangerous as alcohol. I have never smoked so much marijuana that I forgot things from the night before. I have never smoked so much marijuana that I suddenly, found myself in the carport of my house going, how the hell did I get home? Mm-hmm. Okay. Alcohol, yes. Yet alcohol is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we see that alcohol can be a dangerous substance. It can be the ruiner of lives, and yet we continue.
Well, I understand the deterrent value. As I've told you, when I was at LSU, I was the only person I know that didn't smoke a joint every now and then. But there were reasons. The first was I had a license as an EMT from the state of Illinois that would have been jerked immediately. And secondly, I had a federal radio license. And I needed to protect those. And for me, the path was, I never thought it was evil or terrible or the road to hell. In fact, everybody that used it was pretty responsible. They looked like they're having a hell of a good time. I just didn't want to lose those two things.
Well, that's the thing. It's an illegal substance, so there's more at stake than just, getting a buzz. And you have to keep that in mind. I mean, when you get to the point where you could lose your job, you could lose your house, et cetera, you've got to take these things into consideration and err on the side of staying on the right side of the law. But more and more states are electing to do this thing as a recreational substance. And I'm not seeing, Colorado's had it in place long enough now to where if there was some horrible, terrible result, we would have seen some real evidence of that by now.
Well, God, the 60s had it in place, and so did the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. If there were horrible, terrible results, we would have seen them, like we did with illegal heroin and meth.
Well,
and
that's
fentanyl.
the thing, and I think it's a fair question to ask. If marijuana were a legal recreational substance, might we have at least some fewer people in Louisiana seeking to ease their pain or their anxiety with opioids? And we know we've got an explosion of opioid-related deaths in this state.
Well, and here is what we need to look at in the future. Eventually, every state in this union is going to approve medical marijuana and is going to approve recreational marijuana.
Every state?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I think Louisiana will be the last one on the list.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. But what happens to the business model? Now, John talked about this as a political football for years.
Absolutely.
The legalization is going to be one, of recreation is going to be one too, and here's why. Most of the people who are making a few bucks here, a few bucks there, selling a little bit of weed, they're not paying taxes on it right now.
Right.
Their business model gets kicked in the butt. The people who rely on them politically are going to fight this a lot more than the other side of the coin because they know that this relatively harmless small business, I'm not talking about the people who are bringing in, truckloads.
You're talking about the guy that maybe grows himself maybe a half an acre of weed somewhere out in Tangipahoa Parish.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Once or twice a year, he puts it on the market, makes himself several $1,000s.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, or the guy that, he buys, a pound from somebody and he goes to the Albertsons and buys himself four boxes of baggies, and he's selling $10 bags, and he's making a few bucks, enough to keep him happy, not paying taxes on it. But that's going to be the guy that actually has some political clout and is going to get his butt kicked. So what happens then politically?
No, I think we're still a decade or more away from that happening in Louisiana, Bill.
I don't think so. I think 5. I think 5 years, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have had lawmakers say it's coming faster than you think. We have had, I won't name their names, but we have had state lawmakers say it's coming and faster than you think.
I've never found any reasonable opposition to recreational marijuana. Nobody makes an argument based on science. Nobody makes an argument based on statistics. It's all emotional, what I call no context arguments.
Zero DEA, Federal Department of the Federal
Drug Enforcement
Administration. 0 deaths attributed to marijuana use. 0. And by the way, if I hear one more person call it a gateway drug, I'm going to slap them, because I have all my life known people that used marijuana and only marijuana and never sought to use anything else.
Have you ever noticed that nobody ever talks about beer as a gateway drug to scotch?
Mother's milk is a gateway drug to scotch. All right, we got to take a break.
Yes, well, it should be.
More of Exiles TV coming up this hour. A visit with LABI, the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. It's on the way.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us on this Tuesday morning. Is there any place south of Cairo, Illinois that is not in stifling heat today?
No, it's a hot, hot summer. This is a very hot summer.
Well, today is really bad.
I was hoping that the summer heat would get some of these young people off the streets. They'd stop the looting and the burning and the destroying and the messing things up. I was sad to hear a woman that I've been very appreciative through a lot of this trouble is the police chief in Seattle, Washington, doing her best to maintain law and order while her city is just falling apart. And now her city council votes to defund police, and I think that she's put in her time, and she said, that's it. No, I don't know if she's taking retirement, but she announced this morning that she's done. What does a police chief do when the city government is working contrary to the interests of public safety?
Well, you know, we talked a little bit about this off the air. And what a lot of these politicians, you know, people who are in the first term on the city council or the third term, and the mayor, what they don't realize is that most of these people that come in as chiefs of police have got enough time in on the job and enough experience that if you start to shake the foundation of what they're trying to do, if you show that you don't believe in them, if you want to use them for a political statement, they can sit there and say, don't make any difference to me. I'll put in my papers and I'll make exactly what I made last year for the rest of my life. Sayonara.
Yep.
There is a tremendous power in civil service years in the job and your retirement program. And, superintendents, a lot of cities have both a superintendent or a commissioner and a chief of department. Most of the superintendents, they jump around every 4 or 5 years, despite Frank Reagan on NYPD Blue. They don't have that kind of thing. But the chief can say, I'm telling you, don't mess with me. I'm going to get this taken care of, and we're going to do it right. And if they give him the lip, that chief, male or female, can say, see ya, hasta la vista, baby, sayonara, don't need the crap. And you know what? They're absolutely right.
Well, I was standing up and cheering for this woman, a week, 2 weeks ago when she was taking action, getting the cops out in the street, getting the riffraff out of the street, and just trying to restore law and order in her city. And her thanks for it is City Hall the City Council comes back and says, we're going to defund your department.
Well, chief of department in Chicago did the very same thing. This was a guy who had, I think, 35 years of experience. All of it was CPD, as far as I know. His pension is just fine, thank you very much. And I know a lot of these people, figuratively, I know many of them personally, at least some of the ones in this general area. They will make a good faith effort. They will sit with a council person, or in Chicago's case, an alderman. And they'll sit with a mayor and say, look, if you persist, I'm not going to sit here and get beaten up every day for your political gain. I'm going to walk. And you're going to lose all my experience. You are going to lose all the longevity that I bring to this job. You're going to lose not only me, but you're going to lose the trust of the good officers in this department.
Yep.
And they're going to start dropping like flies.
What I fear, though, is we're dealing with aldermen or city council persons or whatever that don't place any value on the skill sets and the experience
in Seattle,
of a
you don't.
seasoned law enforcement professional.
Have you seen their mayor?
Yeah.
And what?
Well, and the mayor was just fine with the rioters until, of course, they came to her house. And then suddenly we had a bad situation.
Well, and you're going to have it in Portland. They've got
Portland is still
the Honorable
under siege.
Doogie Howser is their mayor. What is he, 12?
Yeah, and they've also got a horrible governor up there, too. It's sad to see, and now it's getting to be that's what young people do. I mean, look at Beirut. Beirut is falling apart right now because of that explosion. Because how could you have let that happen? All that stuff stored for 6 years, unsafely stored right here in our backyard.
Well, and that is the correct question. But, I think when you talk about Seattle and Portland and Chicago, Minneapolis, all these other places, first of all, you don't have a legal mechanism to truly defund the police. So what you're going to do is whomever they report to fiscally, whether it's the executive, the mayor, or whether it's their council, is going to, for lack of a better term, dick with them. That's what they're going to do. And if you notice, the officers that have caused the problems, none of these people are 25 and 30-year officers who know the job and are doing it. They are relatively new officers. And they can walk. They can retire. So because you're being political with them, you're not getting anything accomplished except more problems. There is nobody that says, okay, gee, we love having a police force that has got 20% less budget, so you can use it as a political statement. Oh, and by the way, a quarter of the leadership who has not been accused of anything except trying to keep this city, county, you pick it, safe, they went with that budget cut. What do you got next? What are you going to do next? What is it that you wish to do next? It is foolish. And there are some times when politics don't mix And one of those times is with public safety. Nobody is saying don't deal with rogue officers, don't deal with bad training, don't deal with problems. Nobody is saying that.
But we got to maintain law and order. We have to.
Well, and again, is this the time? I mean, here's the deal. Once the Titanic hit the iceberg, you're not going to replace the captain. For better or for worse, you need his experience to try to keep that boat floating at the right angle and getting everybody off. I mean, this is stupidity in its highest form. And no good's going to come of it.
It's a nationwide wave of stupidity. It's a worldwide wave of stupidity. So, what's the answer?
Well, sometimes the answer may be something unpleasant. Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago got her answer 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Sure changed her mind, didn't it?
It is time for another commercial break. We're going to take care of that, take care of some business, and we're also going to talk some business in Louisiana. Stephen Waguespack is the head of the LABI, and he'll be our guest on Exiles TV.
Taste the feeling.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are 2 busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis. Not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, LABI takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles TV. Bill Profita sits over yonder. I'm Kevin, and joining us now in the center chair is our good friend Stephen Waguespack. He is the president and CEO of the LABI, the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. Thanks for having me on.
Looking very fit.
Well, I try my best. As are you. I like this. This is
yeah,
nice.
well, I was trying to offset the as we were talking earlier with the COVID-15 that a lot of us have. If you don't catch the 19, you're gonna put on the 15.
Just getting that warmth for winter ready. I like
yeah,
that.
there you go.
Yeah, in case you have to hibernate. Like everybody else.
Continued hibernation.
Yeah. Yes. Stephen, we always talk about nonprofit organizations having a hard time. And I guess many of the trade associations, which are so dynamic like yours, are actually nonprofit organizations. And you all are having a little bit of difficulty in shifting of priorities as well.
Yeah, I think everyone's going through it. I'm like you all. I'm involved in a lot of different nonprofits around the area. Many of them are trying their best to kind of get through this and hold their fundraising events and service events and all that stuff. And some are working well, some are not. We at LABI, we're a nonprofit. We also have a foundation. We do charitable work, but also we do solicitations for our membership. What we're hearing from a lot of members are, they're, especially in the small business side, there's just so much uncertainty to them. They're asking, hey, can you give us a little bit more time and all that? And of course, we're granting all that. And so people are just waiting to know, what is the final plan? We're not getting a lot of folks saying, hey, we're not in. We're getting a lot of folks saying, let's just wait and see what the end of the year looks like, because they don't know, is their business going to stay afloat? Are they going to have to consolidate? Are they going to have to go bankrupt? Are they going to come back strong? And so until the economy is opened up, until the shackles are taken off, you're going to have this air of uncertainty hanging over folks like us, nonprofits doing great work around every community, all of us.
Do we need this much length of uncertainty? At the very, very beginning of this, the medical experts and the virologists and the people that track viruses say we should have some good, solid clues as to what we should do around the second week of October based on the time we started to see a lot of cases. Now people, and I think they're kind of hedging their bets, and it's a personal opinion, are saying, let's wait till the end of the year. Do we need that much length of uncertainty on top of the uncertainty we've already had, in your opinion?
No, we don't. In my opinion is, look, I kind of handle stuff kind of like my mom taught me to handle stuff. And she was big on life's not fair, deal with it. I mean, don't let any challenge kind of make you go in the fetal position in the corner. That's what she demanded. And that's kind of the way I look at things. And so, look, this is what we know. We know that early on when this hit, we didn't know a whole lot about the disease. We knew there were ventilator shortages. We knew there was no PPE. We didn't know what the right treatment was. We knew high risk and nursing homes and elderly people were very vulnerable. So the shutdown went in place when this first started. And it was quite frankly the appropriate call. We're removed from that now. We don't have a ventilator shortage. They're everywhere. PPE, you can find it everywhere. At the CVS when you're checking out, there's masks right there. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. We know that. The elderly population, we know how to distance them. We know how to protect them, keep them away. What we also know now is that this virus is going to be with us months, years, decades. This is the new normal. This is what we have to learn to live with. And so we've got to learn how to function as a society, have school, have work, have customers, have an economy with this virus. Right now what we're doing is we're staying in partial shutdown mode. We're testing everyone. We're letting confirmed cases, whether they are severe or light, determine shutdown policy. Why? We don't have a ventilator shortage. We don't have the PPE shortage. We can prepare for this. After storms, what do we do in Louisiana? We set up shelters. We put people in shelters. We send care to those. We prioritize high risk, low risk, medium risk. We do that after storms all the time. If we're worried about capacity, why haven't we set up temporary facilities and shelters so that if someone comes in with a confirmed case, we can say, okay, you're critical. You're going to ICU. You're not critical. You're asymptomatic. We're going to track you, or you're going to go to one. If you need follow-up, you go to one of these other sites we've set up at the River Center or at this courthouse or at this ballroom. If we're going to live with this for a year or two, we've got to get out of the cycle of every 2 weeks holding a press conference saying, oops, too many confirmed cases, we got to stay shut down. Because the service-based economy we have in Louisiana, which is dominated by small to mid-sized companies, hospitality, retail, tourism, hotels, restaurants, they can't survive in an every 2 weeks we got to shut down more mode if this goes on for much longer.
Well, the uncertainty I think is terrible. I mean, I am old enough to the point that I still had a draft card and a draft number. And
I did not, but
yeah, but there was uncertainty. So I thought for one semester of college, I might need a little more money. And I had self-finance and scholarships and all that. So I went to go apply for a very small loan. I think it was $500 over the semester. And they said, let me see your draft card. Gave them the draft card and said 1A, and they said, you're not going to get a loan. And I said, why? And they said, the uncertainty that you might be called into uniform tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, or 3 months from now, and you want this loan to cover a whole semester.
I see where you're going.
So that's what we got now. How
we got
can
the uncertainty of you're going to be able to continue to earn money and pay this loan back.
Are you going to be able to offer?
How do you know?
Are you going to be able to open? Are you going to be able to open at full capacity? Are you going to be able to rehire everybody? Are your suppliers going to be able to get supplies to you? And I just think that it's time to make a decision and not say, we're going to wait another 2 weeks, wait another 2 weeks. Let's take a worst case scenario and a best case scenario and make a decision based on that.
Look, I agree. And look, let's just take football, for example. This week's debate, every week's a different one, right?
Mm-hmm.
This week's debate is, can we have football or not? Will society allow football to happen? Look, as a fan, do I want it? Sure. Do I think those athletes who are in this beautiful facility, LSU, with all this great treatment, can be better served there? I do. I think football should be played. Even if you don't care about any of that stuff, do you know how many small businesses, vendors, restaurants, hotels, how many of these mom and pops that everyone loves to say how much they want to help depend on football season? And so if all of a sudden you said we're going to shut you down the last couple of months, we're going to shut down the festivals, and oh, by the way, now football is shut down, how do you hang them on? And instead, everyone's plan is, well, we'll just go to Congress and beg for money. And Congress is saying, we're kind of done doing this.
Yeah.
And this is not the plan. And so governors across the country are having to kind of rethink, okay, this isn't working anymore. If I'm just going to stay in shutdown and say Congress backfill and keep everyone tread water, that flow of dollars is starting to dry up. And so we have to learn as society, and our leaders of all levels have to learn, how do we live with this? How do we function with this? How do we go to school with this? How do we save small business with this? And if the answer is the best way to protect people is to bankrupt them and shut it all down, I don't see where that is the smart play.
Yeah, to live, to do what after you've done all that?
Right. Stephen, what does your nose tell you about the politics of this? Because, you talk to any number of people and say, how long will this thing last? How long will the shutdown last? It's like, about a week after election is what most people say. So, in other words, a lot of people think it's political.
Look, my gut is politics is playing a role in this, just like it does every time, whatever the big issue is in election year. Mm-hmm. I do think that's a part of it, but I have a little bit different approach than most people. I think we have a society that is in constant fear of a lawsuit, a bad tweet, a bad social media moment caught on camera, because that can ruin your livelihood, put you in jail, blah, blah, blah. And so everyone is making tough decisions out of fear of a lawsuit or bad press. Mm-hmm. And so if you are the commissioner of a football conference, or you the manager of a company, or a governor, or a president, or any leadership position at any level, whether you recognize it or not, seeping into your head is this fear of a lawsuit or bad press. And if you're going to try to make tough decisions with those two dynamics, and oh, by the way, you're surrounded by health professionals to say, the safest thing to do is shut it all down, we're going to keep getting shut it down advice.
Well, I'm reminded of attorneys that are house counsel. They're the corporate counsel for a hospital, or a fast food franchisor, or a steel mill, and it's easy for them. They have an easy job. All they do is say no every time somebody comes to them and says, do you think we should do a big picnic outside in July for our employees and maybe get a big national band to perform? And they say, no. You expose yourself to liability. Well, and that's what we've become to. Every answer is no.
Just this week, and I don't know when this airs, but just yesterday, Booger McFarland, former LSU great, was on television. They were asking, what do you think about college football? And he said, as a parent, I would not let my son play unless every kid on the team signed a liability waiver saying that they would not sue. He's like, I wouldn't advise a school to do that. And I think what he is talking about is when those Power 5 conferences get in a room and it's just them in there, I guarantee what they're saying is, guys, if something goes wrong, anything, we've got a class action lawsuit that's going to put us all under. Can we afford that risk? And I think every governmental leader and business and all is having that same approach. It's fear of the lawsuit or the bad social media press that is making them stay in these bunkers. And at this rate, with this testing level and that fear, I worry we're going to stay in a bunker for a year, because if you're just leading out of fear, it's always going to be easier to say shut it down.
Well, they used to call it the bunker mentality. And I think that's where we are.
Yeah, I do too.
If by the time we stay in the bunker for a year, will we be able to get back out? And will there be a back out to get to? I mean,
you'll see heavy consolidation everywhere.
At what point is it a tipping point that you can't, the states, the economy can't come back from?
And look, if we're not at that point, we're looking over the edge right now at it. And from the small businesses, I think a lot of them are starting to have this conversation. Okay, do I fold? Do I take out more money? Do I sell out to my competitor? And so if you are in a certain small business industry and you've got a little capital, you're trying to buy your competitors out. So, I think you're going to see a lot of consolidation in restaurants and retail and stuff like that. That may buy us a couple more weeks, months, whatever. But if we're at the end of the year and we're still in shutdown mode, I don't know what's on the backside. I really don't. But it ain't good.
We are going to continue our discussion with Stephen Waguespack. He is the president and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, LABI. We can take a break, pay a couple bills while we still can, and we'll be back with more Exiles TV in just a moment.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down.
Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us again. For those of you who are watching us live right now, we thank you. But if you've got friends that are unable to watch live, there is a replay on this very same channel.
There is.
At 10 o'clock tonight. And, of course, it'll be on YouTube probably by about 2 or 3 this afternoon. And you can always stream it live. If you go to pelicanbroadcasting.com, you can download the app and do it that way.
Oh, yeah, the app only takes like...
It is quick,
downloads
quick,
to your
quick.
phone like that.
Thank you for being with us. We're talking to Stephen Waguespack, President and CEO of LABI. Stephen, we're in political season.
Yes.
We just
Are we
finished-
ever out of it?
Well, that's true. We just finished legislative season. LABI generally interviews candidates from all around the state, does a scorecard, which basically comes down to people that get your recommendation, or if you find a race where you don't want to make a recommendation, or sometimes you can have a race where you recommend two. Are you going to be able to do that this election season?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, this is the time of year we get to that. And so you mentioned the scorecard first. I'll start with that. Every legislative session, we go to the Capitol. We say these are the issues important to the business community. These are the issues that can promote and defend free enterprise. These are the bills. The legislators know it clearly. So at the end of every session, we put the scorecard up. Who voted yes, who voted no, puts the names on there. This year's, every different scorecard has a story, depending. And the story of this one is, and we'll be releasing our scorecard in about 2 weeks. And it's very well done, and it'll be very informative. The story of this year's session is, this is the first year that this new legislature came in, new leadership, a lot of new energy, new ideas came in. There are a lot of folks that scored very well in this session. A lot of folks who cross party lines to support things like tort reform, to support things like targeted tax relief. A lot of good scores on this. And so we think this is a great development. I think what this shows is this new legislature was a bunch of people coming in from term limits. They weren't career political animals. They were actually just career Main Street guys and gals. And they decided they wanted to go to Baton Rouge and make a difference. And so they walked into the Capitol without all these layers of political, scar
Baggage,
tissue on them. And they just saw issues for what they were. And the issues have never been the problem in Louisiana. It's always been the political baggage. And so we think it's a great story to tell. That scorecard will show it. And so we're going to use that for elections a couple of years from now. But right now, if you look at this fall's elections, obviously the presidential one's going to be huge. There's a U.S. Senator coming up, but a lot of judicial elections around the state. And so we're trying to put a lot of information out there. Who is your judge? Who is running for judge? What districts are you in? So that people go to vote, they're voting on actual substance. We put a website out, louisianajudiciary.com. It has all the information on what local judge you have, who represents you, so you can go in there with some information, whereas what most of us do, I think I heard that name. That sounds familiar. I got a piece of mail from him. So we're putting a lot of information out there so when folks go to the poll this fall, they can go in informed to make the best decision for their perspective.
You mentioned judges' races. I just would like to get your opinion on something. Do you find it troubling that we have more than one judge here locally that doesn't understand that there's a 70-year age limit to being a judge, and they're over 70 and they're still wanting to run for another term? I would hope the judges were more familiar with the law than anyone.
Well, they're familiar with it. They were just trying to stretch the bounds of it. Yeah. And the court did not see it their way, and they've stepped out of that race. But the law is pretty clear.
No offense to either woman, but
Yeah, I mean that's why you need new fresh blood, and that's why you see it in the legislature. Term limits have brought in new fresh blood. It's bringing a new approach. You see it in in presidential cycles and governor cycles. We bring fresh blood in from time to time to shake things up. The judiciary needs it too. Theirs is a 70-year age limit that needs to stay. I'm glad the court upheld it because that needs to stay in place in our.
Do you think there should be age limits on anything else in state government or any other branches?
Well, it's a good question. I hadn't thought about it. I don't know. I mean, I do think laws that try to bring in new perspective and new legislators and executive officials from time is good. Whether there's an age limit beyond the judiciary, I don't know. I don't know about that. But I do support term limits and feel like we need to constantly bring in new ideas to legislation.
I've seen places where a judge can become an empire, and there are no age limits, and that judge can be 80-something and maybe not even able to lift the gavel, but can still get reelected.
Particularly in smaller areas where you don't have 19 district judges, you've maybe got one or two, and one does criminal and one does civil, and it can become a monarchy.
And look, you see other officials, you see some parishes where the same sheriff has been there for a number of years, same DA, whatever. I haven't looked closely enough to know whether age limits are, should apply to that or not. But I think in the judiciary it's appropriate because that is such a, there's three branches of government. The executive branch, there's a lot of ethics restrictions. They have term limits on that governor. I mean, there's a lot of coverage there. Legislature, that second branch, there's ethics code. There's term limits there. The judicial branch, they're not subject to the ethics code. They do their own ethics. They don't have many limitations. I think having a 70-year age limit is the least you can do to drive new blood there. So.
Well, you say they're subject to their own ethics code, and I've always found that troubling.
It is troubling.
In Louisiana, at the very least, and I'm sure there are states that are similar, a district court judge, a state judge, has got almost unlimited purview to say or act any particular way they want to without too much fear of recrimination unless it's from the state Supreme Court.
Right.
And they have to have a formal complaint that they have to investigate, and that's long after the horse has left the barn in most of these cases.
Yeah, and in this day and age where everything's online before you can even finish a sentence and all that just doesn't fly anymore. I mean, it didn't really fly back in the day, but right now that really doesn't fly anymore. And I think the judiciary's feeling that pressure. They've tried to offer up some modifications to their internal ethics policies. I don't know if it goes far enough, to be honest with you. It would not surprise me at all if the legislature takes a harder look at changing some of that. What's going to be interesting is next year, when you start to have the redistricting discussion happen in the legislature, typically over the years in Louisiana, what happens is every 10 years you redraw the lines, and every 10 years you redraw the legislative lines, and every 10 years you redraw the congressional lines, and every 10 years the judiciary says, leave us alone, and the legislature says, you got it. So they don't redraw their lines. I think next year it could be a different discussion. The judiciary may say, leave us alone. The legislature may say, not so fast. We want some input in those lines. We want some input on how you're going to enforce ethics going forward.
Especially with so much new blood in the legislature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
not willing to play the old games.
Most of your members spend a great deal of time in court. It's usually not for criminal matters, but it's usually to defend lawsuits or to defend regulations or to enforce a complicated contract. And for your members particularly, some of which are billion-dollar businesses, some of which are $100,000 businesses, but they have to appear before a judge that was elected by a popular vote. Now, there are a number of states who do this. I think Nebraska is the one closest to us. But if there is an open seat, candidates may qualify and run. After that initial term, then there is a panel of experts, not from Nebraska, talking about legal scholars, judges, people who have served at the federal level, who then determine whether or not their performance was good enough to give them another term. So you don't have to compete for an electoral vote every single time. And it seems to me that system would allow for a little more expertise on the bench. I was wondering what you thought of that.
I would probably take the different viewpoint because nothing scares me more when I hear a panel of experts, because I want to know who those experts were, what their motivation is, what they're trying to accomplish. Because you can have a great resume but still have a very off perspective as compared to the people they represent. So I tend to default on things like that. You want accountability, you want transparency, and you want to have the people at the ground level having the most control as to what goes from there. And so I do trust the voters. I think the problem is with the judicial voters over the years is we haven't given them the information. We haven't put their ethics disclosures online. We haven't informed voters. I think if voters know all the information on their judiciary, they can make better decisions than a panel of experts that I don't know who's appointing them or who's greasing their wheels or anything like that. I trust the people if we give them the information to make good decisions.
But the trouble with the people is you also get campaign commercials.
Sure.
Saying, come down and see Judge Trudy at the 19th JDC, and she'll give you some love.
Give you some love.
A blatant, she will let you off if you are one of her voting constituents.
And I think a properly enforced and drafted ethics code can take advantage of pieces like that. Over the years, there hasn't been much stomach in the Capitol to force the judiciary to entertain ethics restrictions like that. I think going forward, that dog's not going to hunt anymore. It's time for every branch of government to be subject to strong ethics expectations and transparency. It's time for the judiciary to come on board. And that's one of the reasons why we rolled this website out. We want to put information out, not to beat up on the judiciary. I think there are a lot of great judges in Louisiana. But we need to tell the true story of what's going on in the judiciary so the good judges can make their case directly to the people. And maybe the not so good judges can also make their case directly to the people, because I trust the people to make good decisions in those cases.
And what's the URL on that website?
LouisianaJudiciary.com.
LouisianaJudiciary.com. We'll post that later as well, just so you can. But it's pretty easy to remember. LouisianaJudiciary.com. Stephen, our time passes much too quickly. Would like to have you back to go over the scorecard and the recommendations.
I'd love to. Be great.
If not before that, I think what we haven't gotten to today that we really do need to get to is, we all know that the hospitality industry has been really harmed, but I think we need to talk about some of our other large industries and the impact this has all had on them.
Yeah, the oil and gas crisis going on has not been covered as much, but is just as harmful to Louisiana right now.
We'll make an appointment and bring you back on, because you got information I think the public needs to have. Stephen Waguespack, President and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, LABI. You can find out more about them, by the way, at labi.org. And we will have Stephen back with us. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you both. I appreciate you both.
You bet. And we'll be back in just moments to wrap things up here on Exiles TV.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
Exiles TV. Kevin Gallagher, Bill Profita.
I've got my specs on. Do I look smarter?
You do. You do.
I just thought I would check out in our final moments. Still, no decision being has been made about whether or not to cancel college football or postpone it. I think this is it's a bad idea. And you know, I'm not a big sports fan.
No.
But it's a huge economic machine that I think needs to operate through the fall if we're going to come out of this COVID-19 thing with anything left of our economy.
And you know, the thing is, I joke around a lot about being kind of a pessimist, but I'm really not. And I do think people need something to look forward to. And it was further enough down the road when this all started that it was, like in South Bend and in Tallahassee and in Baton Rouge and in College Station and, you know, in Boulder and all these other places where football is their big fall entertainment. I do think people need something to look forward to. And I think it's a bad idea. Here's something. Speaking of look forward to, BRPD said they were going to do something about these street parties.
Yeah, and they have.
Councilwoman C. Denise Marcel, former councilwoman, now state representative, was with us on this
This is
program.
part of her district too, and you know she knows what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm. They have arrested the man they believe is responsible for organizing these block parties on both Plank Road and River Road. The guy's name is Frisco Jack.
Frisco Jack.
Jack was a fugitive from the Zachary Police Department. Now they are looking for more people that they can arrest, and they ask if you will help them by calling Crime Stoppers 344-7867 or download the P3 Tips app. How about that? But you have
P3
look
Tips.
at old Frisco Jack here. He's smiling in his photograph. He looks like a good time, happy time guy.
I see some metal in that grin.
Yeah, he looks like a happy guy. You know, I might ask him to come in and organize our Christmas party.
Frisco Jack. Not his real name, by the way.
Is that not his real name?
I'm looking at some other headlines here.
They booked him under that name.
They booked him under Frisco Jack?
Yeah, at least according to Channel 9.
I was looking at a headline a few minutes ago that said the state is tracking potential COVID outbreak at schools. Schools have been open for what, 3 days? State now tracking coronavirus outbreaks linked to schools. It's like, I'm sorry, school hasn't been open long enough.
Well, that means the kids or teachers came in with it.
Maybe. You know what I'm going to call this? There's an old song by John Prine where he says, "Stop wishing for bad luck while knocking on wood."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's exactly what's going on here.
Well, I mean, did anybody
we
really
reopened the
believe,
schools, but the COVID.
Did anybody really believe that you weren't going to have some cases of COVID in schools?
Of course you're going to have cases of COVID at schools.
What have we got, 350,000 school-aged kids in this state?
You're going to have cases of whooping cough in schools. You're going to have cases of swine flu in schools. You're going to have cases of regular seasonal flu in schools. You're going to have all sorts of diseases going around. Kids are disease-carrying little vermin.
They are.
At what point do we lump this in with the rest of the diseases and say, let's get on with our lives?
Well, you don't lump it in.
If you get sick, we treat you.
Yeah, you don't lump it in. You just say it's ridiculous to expect that you won't have any cases, and you leave it at that. There's no need to compare it to anything else.
I think it's time for us collectively to quit hiding from this virus. Let's get out there and meet it head on. And if people are sick, let's quarantine them like we used to do with sick people and treat them.
Yeah,
and move along.
And you know, you really can't hide from a virus. You can try, but you really can't hide. We will be back with you on Thursday, and we look forward to meeting up again at this same time and the same station. Until that time, be well.
Ciao, Bella. God bless. Take care.